Hey, welcome back, Sons of Russ. This is Nick from Beer and Bat Reps, and today we are talking about a dual kit. You can build either the Stormfang Gunship or the Stormwolf Flyer. We'll be talking about both. We'll be talking about how they look, their fluff, their background, what they fulfill on the battlefield, ways you can try to use them, tactics, stratagems that might work, different play styles, and their points and statistics, and loadouts with their weapons to see what's the most efficient or fun or, just the best ways to use them. So settle in and let's learn about the Stormwolf. Okay, so as we start to discuss how this looks, the actual model, I just want to remind everyone that Space Wolves are my favorite army. I love Space Wolves. That being said, I think it behooves me to tell the truth when I'm describing this model. It looks like a flying brick. It is well known on the internet for looking like a dog's head. You got the little ears for the wings. The canopy kind of is where the eyes would be. And then you have the large snout. So a wolf head, a flying wolf head, basically. I'm going to quote Noah from our channel. And his exact quote to me was, "The least aerodynamic vehicle in the Imperium." And that says something, because there's quite a lot of flying boxes in Warhammer 40k. But this one, it takes the prize. Those tiny little wings at the front. Yeah. What do they do? I'm guessing something to do with drift and lift. They need those tiny little wings. That being said, I think the giant frost cannon going through the front does look pretty cool. I can just picture each of those parts spinning different directions as it charges up some high-pitched laser that cuts across the battlefield. That's pretty cool. The exact picture we're looking at now has the missile loadout, and the missiles do look decent. Honestly prefer the, what are they, multi-melters? I think they look better, and they're better on the battlefield. I think they have their own unique stats for this flyer. They're not actually called multi-melters, but we'll get to that. The 4 jet engines look decent on the sides. I do like the cockpit. It's just big enough for one guy. He's got one job, and that's fly around shooting stuff. This is actually the loadout for the Stormwolf Gunship. The other loadout has less guns, but has a twin-linked frost cannon on top. And you can tell it has less guns because it needs more room to hold all the bodies that it carries because it's a transport. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It looks a little goofy. I kind of want one, but I was discussing with Noah, maybe there's a aftermarket company or a 3D print file to just make it look a little better, because every part of my brain screams that this should not be able to fly. It just does not look capable of flight. So yeah, I would like to find bigger wings that are aerodynamic, maybe arcing backwards like it's cutting through the air. Some kind of front for the tip that's sharper so that it looks like it can cut through the air. It can still have the cannon sticking out. That'd be cool. Those little wings at the front need to go too and be replaced by bigger wings, or just 2 more jet engines. Something other than those tiny little wings. I think they're the same wings that are on Logan Grimnar's Santa Claus chariot, and they just reused them. Wow. I would love to hear you guys in the comments defend this thing. Please tell me ways that you think it looks great. Here's the side view. Looks a little better from the side. Looks like this is the transport version with the las cannons, the heavy bolters, and the twin-link frost cannons on top. I like all the wolf talisman stuff on the side. That looks great. The wolf at the front, at the nose, the wolf icon that's in gold looks great. But honestly, it's the exact same things that are on Logan Grimnar's chariot. I do like the little hover engines on the bottom of it that you can see pointing down at the ground. That at least helps with the illusion that it should be able to have lift and be able to leave the ground. Yeah. Go in the comments. Tell me you have one. Tell me you love it. Tell me how you think it should be able to fly. And if you've done a conversion with 3D printed parts, tell me about that, because I'm going to be doing a little research of my own, because I do like its stats. I do like what it does on the battlefield. It's a little pricey, but we'll get to that. Let's dig into the fluff. The howl of jet turbines echoes from the valley walls and mountain peaks as the gunships of the Space Wolves boost forward on the hunt. Scarring the skies with their contrails, these aerial war machines are as savage on the attack as their earthbound kin, and, in the case of the Stormfang and Stormwolf, those who wait within to land the final blow on their reeling enemies. The imposing bulk of the Stormfang gunship barrels through the frantic whirl of an aerial dogfight at shocking speed. lances of searing white light bursting from its primary cannon. Where these beams strike home, the hulls of the enemy aircraft freeze and shatter, raining shards of metal and ruptured systems into the open sky. For the Space Wolves, the Stormfang Gunship is the final word on airborne superiority. Though it possesses a limited transport capacity, enough to carry a small pack into battle, the Stormfang is first and foremost designed to dominate the skies in the manner of the dread ice worms of Fenris. An enormous Hellfrost destructor runs the length of these deadly attack craft, a formidable weapon that freezes its target to absolute zero in seconds. Even unyielding materials such as ceramite, ferrocrete, and Aldari wraithbone cannot hope to withstand the thermal shock of plummeting to such base temperatures so rapidly, and shatter beneath the lance's beam's icy touch. With twin heavy bolters and Stormstrike missiles rounding out the craft's offensive options, most Stormfang pilots are boastful of the deadly firepower at their command and decorate their craft with kill tallies and battle honors. The Stormwolf Gunship enables the chapter to bring the fight to the enemy wherever they may be found. Combining breathtaking speed with freedom of altitude, a Stormwolf can quickly close in on its prey before letting loose its passengers right in amongst the enemy lines, and bears sufficient firepower to ensure such a landing is not contested. The wolf head silhouette of the Stormwolf strikes fear into the hearts of the enemy, for it signals the arrival of some of the deadliest warriors in the Imperium. Such foreboding is not without good cause, for these vessels are the favored landing craft of the Blood Claws, renowned for their ferocity in battle. When its front access port has yawned open and its complement of Space Wolves have bounded out into the thick of battle, the Stormwolf will rise once more, searching for prey of its own. With its formidable array of weaponry, the Stormwolf is perfectly capable of engaging both infantry and armor. So the first one we're going to talk about is the one you can see on the screen, which is the Stormwolf. It is the transport option. So it starts off with its base loadout at 300 points, and that's with 2 las cannons, the Skyhammer missile launcher, and twin Hellfrost cannon. So we're going to go through it. So it is 16 power level, 300 points, and it does have stats that degrade, but what degrades is its movement and its attacks. Oh, and its ballistic skill, so that hurts a little bit. So you want to make sure to get your shots in before it goes down in ballistic skill. But it starts at movement 20 to 50 inches, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 3, strength 8, which is hilarious, toughness 7. I'd rather those be swapped. But toughness 7, wounds 14, attacks 6, leadership 8, and save 3+. So T7, 14 wounds and a 3-up. And it's -1 to hit from being airborne and hard to hit. That's not bad in terms of defense. It has twin las cannon, or 2 las cannon, sorry. Same exact thing. So you know what that does. Strength 9, -3, d6 damage. And then it has the Skyhammer missile launcher, which is 60-inch range, heavy 3, strength 7, -1 AP, d3 damage, and you add 1 to its hit roll if you're shooting at aircraft. Specifically aircraft, not fly keyword. Not bad, not great. And then it has a twin Hellfrost cannon. So you choose between dispersed or focused, and that's the gun on top in that picture you're seeing. So if you do dispersed, it's 36 inches, heavy 2d3, strength 6, -2 AP, 1 damage, blast. Meh, pretty bad. But if you do focused, it's 36 inches, heavy 2, strength 8, -4, flat 4. I like that. I like that, actually. That's how I'd be using it, just hunting tough targets. Whether that be eradicators or Limb Russes, rhinos, which are very prevalent nowadays with Death Guard. There's a lot of things you can shoot at when you do strength 8, -4, flat 4. What I would switch personally is the Skyhammer missile launcher. Your other options are for an extra 40 points. So you're getting up to 340 now, is 2 twin heavy bolters. So that's pretty nice. You're putting out 12 heavy bolter shots with that. And we all know now that it's damage 2, how good heavy bolters can be. You can hunt Space Marines, Death Guard. Although Death Guard with the -1 damage brings them back down to how they used to be. But yeah, that damage 2 gives you a lot more options of what you can do. You can shoot light vehicles like Orc vehicles or Genestealer Colt vehicles. Things like that, heavy bolters are now suddenly really good against. But for only 10 more points, so for 50 points, that brings the total to 350 points. You can bring 2 Melta arrays. And what Melta arrays are 24 inches, heavy D3, so it would be heavy 2D3 because there's 2 of them. Strength 8, -4 AP, D6 damage, blast. And each time attack is made with this weapon, targets a unit within half range. The attack damage has characteristic of D6 +2. i.e. melter rule. So it's basically 2d3 multi-melter shots instead of 2 each, like a normal multi-melter. So it's a little swingy. On average, you should be shooting at the equivalent of 2 multi-melters, but sometimes you might be shooting less and sometimes you might be shooting more. You could theoretically get 6 shots on that, which is cool. For 350 points. Let's go through what the other things that makes this vehicle good. So normal abilities, it's got explodes, airborne, hover jet, supersonic, hard to hit. All the normal flyer stuff from Space Marines where you can hover and still shoot if you don't want to move 50 inches or whatever. But what makes this one unique is it's a transport and has a transport capacity of 16 Space Wolf infantry models. 16. This thing's massive. Each jump pack, Wolfen, or Terminator model takes the place of 2 infantry models, and each Centurion takes the place of 3 infantry models. It cannot transport Primaris. Womp womp. No Primaris. Somehow Primaris are bigger than Centurions, I guess, and won't fit. I don't know. But the fact that you can take Centurion is pretty wild. So you could actually fit 5 Centurion in this thing. You could just bring 5 Assault Centurion, get out, flame everything, shoot everything, charge everything. That's pretty crazy. Or if you wanted, you could just go, let's see, a Terminator takes a spot of 2, so you could fit 8 Terminators. That's not bad. Just come out, Terminator Wolf Guard. That's pretty mean. So the transport capacity is kind of nice. I honestly think you could fit 3 units of Long Fangs with multi-melters and just spit out all those multi-melters when it comes out, and then you also take the Melta array. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's probably what I would do. That's so fun. You could also do, what's another cool thing you could do? You could do the Wolf Guard on just in power armor, but give them combi Meltas and just come out and shoot a ton of Melta shots while still being 2 wound models and good at combat. There's a lot you can do with this. We're going to go through any stratagems I can find that would be good for that as well, and just some tactics and stuff later. But first, let's check out the Stormfang Gunship. So now we're going to take a look at my personal favorite and the way I would build it, which is the Stormfang Gunship. So it starts at 300 points and 16 power level, just like the Stormwolf. But what it comes with is a Hellfrost Destructor, 2 Stormstrike missile launchers, and then those same Skyhammer missile launchers, which you can swap for the other 2. So we'll take a look. The stats are exactly the same as the Stormwolf, but then you get to the Melta arrays, which I personally would spend the 50 points on. So you switch out the Skyhammer missile launcher with the Melta arrays for 50 points. That brings it up to 350 points. Your other option then is you can swap out 2 Stormstrike missile launchers for 2 las cannons, but the las cannons cost an extra 20 points, and I just don't think they're worth it. Because a las cannon, as you know, is 48 inch range, strength 9, minus 3 AP, d6 damage. Whereas the Stormstrike missile launchers that are free, that aren't an extra 20 points, are strength 8, minus 3, flat 3, 72 inch range. And you have 2 of those. So I just keep the missiles. Those are, yes, the strength is 1 lower, but your damage evens out at flat 3 instead of d6. And if you roll like me, flat 3 is infinitely better. If you're a hot roller, by all means, take the d6 damage gun. But I like that exact damage. You can just shoot those at, an Inceptor or an Eradicator that are 3 wounds and just pop them. So it comes with 2 of those. So you have 2 shots at strength 8, minus 3, flat 3. They're heavy, so in turn 1, it's minus 4, flat 3, even better. If you did the Melta array switch, like I talked about, it would be 2d3 shots at strength 8, minus 4, d6 damage. Or if you're within 12 inches, d6 plus 2 damage. So already you are popping tanks and flyers and monsters. You are gunning heavy. And then we get to the Hellfrost Destructor. The entire aircraft is built around this cannon. This cannon is outrageous. So you have the dispersed version, which is 36 inches, and it's heavy 3d3, and that's strength 6, AP minus 2, damage 1, blast. So, not that great. But you're not hunting infantry with this flying tank. You are solely going after big stuff. You're a big hitter. You already have all that Melta, and you already have the 2 flat 3 damage missiles. So time to hit him with the big focused Hellfrost Destructor, excuse me. And it is 36-inch range, heavy D3, blast, which is nice. So you can get the flat 3 against a lot of units. Strength 10, AP -4, flat 6 damage. 6 damage, guys. You're hitting like a Night Titan hits with its chainsword. So let's say you're aiming at an enemy Lemon Russ. You not only are going to put 2 shots at strength 8, -3, flat 3, you're also going to be putting 2d3 shots at strength 8, -4, d6, and you're going to be putting d3 shots at strength 10, -4, flat 6. This thing should one-shot a strong vehicle every turn of the game, realistically. It is 350 points. It is not core, so you cannot reroll, but there are some tricks you can do to make it a little more efficient. The main one being my new Warlord for my Cult of the Red Wolf Space Wolves, which is a Primaris Tech Marine. And you can give any vehicle +1 to hit. So you tap him with that, you send him going, you send him off, and suddenly he's hitting on 2s with all those powerful shots. I'm liking it, guys. It is 350, which is crazy. I mean, that's having to drop like 2.5 dreadnoughts from my list, which hurts. But, you know, variety's good. So I could see popping one of these in my list and just going nuts with it. I mean, you're going to start seeing Dark Angel Terminator spam everywhere. And they're just going to have no answer for this because they don't even bring guns. They're just going to be like shaking their fist up into the sky like, you darn ship, come down here and fight. I'm liking it. If you face lots of Tyranid monsters, if you face lots of orc stompy things, if you face lots of Astra Militarum tanks or Genestealer Cult tanks, or anything just with big, powerful vehicles or monsters, this thing cracks them open. I mean, just D3 shots that each do flat 6 is wild. And then 2d3 that each do d6, and then 2 that each do flat 3. Obviously, you can tell I like this one, guys. This is the winner of the 2. Now, a lot of people look at 16 infantry transport capacity and prefer the other one. But, you know, if your sole purpose is to get it across the table to drop bodies off, people are probably going to pop it and not let those bodies get anywhere close. That being said, if you're bringing all these guns, people are still going to be gunning for you, so you got to be ready for that too. And it still holds 6 infantry models. So 6 guys can still squeeze in there, which is not bad. For some reason, it says each jump pack Wolfen or Terminator takes a space of 2, and each Centurion takes a space of 3. So you're going to bring 2 Centurion, or can you even take them in packs of 2? And then what, you can bring 3 jump pack? 3 jump pack characters, I guess, is the whole reason for that. 3 Wolfen, you can't even take 3 Wolfen. So that's kind of goofy. But the fact that it holds 6 Space Marine infantry models, just take 6 Grey Hunters, or 5, and just dump them off on an objective halfway up the battlefield at some point. I don't know, it's just kind of nice. Gives you a little bit of flexibility. Honestly, they're 350 points, so you're really just not going to see these in a competitive game. But if you're playing a friendly, fun game, I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to. This thing is so destructive. It's just a flying wrecking ball that's going to destroy everything it shoots at if it focuses all of its guns at it. Like, I wouldn't even split fire. Just, there are 5 turns in a game. See if you can kill 4 or 5 vehicles or monsters. Just shoot everything you got at each thing and just pop. Next turn, pop. If you really feel like you're going to hit and you're going to roll hot, sure, split fire some of the weapons. But in my head, I'm like, okay, if I'm seeing 3 enemy Lemon Russ tank commanders, in 5 turns, I'm going to try to pop 2 or 3 of those and just focus fire all of it. It sounds fun. To be honest, I think I'm going to get one. I just got to find a way to convert it to look better. No offense to anyone who loves these models. I think it looks pretty goofy. I do like that the entire thing is built around the giant cannon that you can see in the picture. I mean, it's just like they invented a giant cannon and they said, build a tank around it. And then they went, hey, we can get this thing off the ground and fly with it. So basically the picture above that you're seeing is the load I would do, except the sides, I would replace those little missile launchers with the Melta arrays. And this thing becomes the most deadly flyer that I can think of, barring Forge World. I mean, the amount of shots and damage this thing puts out is insane. And if you can hit it with +1 to hit from the Primaris Tech Marine, it becomes that much more deadly because you're not going to have any rerolls. So let's take a look at any stratagems we can find that could help this thing. Okay, the only one I'm seeing from the actual Space Wolf book is Runic Wards. And because this is so fast and so aggressive, it really will be close to all the enemy units. and it's 1 CP. Use the stratagem in your opponent's psychic phase. After a psychic test is passed for an enemy psyker unit, select one Space Wolves unit from your army within 12 inches of that psyker unit. The unit you selected can attempt to deny that psychic power by taking a deny the witch test as if they were a psyker. So, you know, it's nice just to have an extra deny the witch. And he's so aggressive and so close to the enemy that you might actually get the chance to do that. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. One from the Codex Space Marine book is for 2 CP, power the Machine Spirit. Select a Machine Spirit unit during command phase until the start of your next command phase. That unit acts as if it has full wounds. Very important, very nice. You get to play as if you're at full wounds. Keep that ballistic skill 3 and high movement and just keep shooting away. That seems like it could be pretty important. That being said, 2 CP is spendy. Another very important stratagem that I'm sure you all know about is Armor of Contempt for 1 CP. This thing is going to want to be close so it can make best use of those Melta arrays. So if you're close, your enemy is going to be able to smite them and do psychic power. So Armor of Contempt is 1 CP. When your vehicle takes a mortal wound, for the rest of the phase, you get a 5-up Feel No Pain or 5-up Shrug to ignore the mortal wounds. It doesn't work on regular wounds, but it does work on mortal wounds. So that's another very, very important stratagem for this vehicle to not forget about. Those are really the only stratagems I could find, guys. If you think of any others that I missed, please post them below so we can all learn together. My mindset, though, is that I'm already spending 350 points on this. I probably don't want to also burn through a bunch of CP. This thing is already a huge chunk of your list if you are bringing it, so I wouldn't spend very much CP on it. And one last one to think about is the generic stratagem that any army can use, where for 1 CP, everyone inside of it gets out safely when it dies. If you are bringing the transport version and you're filling it up with 16 Space Marines, you probably want to spend that 1 CP to make sure everyone gets out safely. Okay, so last thing we want to do is sit back and look at each of these and how you would use them on the battlefield. I've already pretty much gone over the gunship variant. Basically, target the enemy's most powerful, most expensive things and shoot everything you got at them. If you hit it with the +1 to hit from the Primaris Tech Marine that I talked about, then you're hitting on 2s. And just simple quick math says that you should kill an entire unit of 5 or 6 Eradicators in one volley, especially turn 1 with the extra AP on your guns in the Devastator Doctrine. So, I mean, that's just pure fun. It's a flying giant gun that zaps everything it shoots at. It'll get killed just as quick. So it's sort of a dance you do with your opponent, whether he wants to shoot at it turn 1 or shoot at your advancing Space Wolves. You know, it's a distraction Carnifex. It's not the best distraction Carnifex because it costs 350 points. So you got to be careful with it. You can't just throw it away. But if you get that opportunity turn 1 to move 50 inches and just maybe your opponent deploys lazily and doesn't realize he's not protecting a character as well as he should, like a Demon Prince or something, and you can leapfrog over a unit and make sure that that character is the closest target, do it. You're not going to regret popping a, Demon Prince turn 1 with this thing. Yes, it'll then get gunned down if the opponent has guns, but what if you're playing against a Gene Stealer army or a World Eaters army that just really doesn't bring a lot of guns? You might be safe. You might be able to just land and unload into a Disco Lord, a Lord Discordant, and wipe him off the table and then still be sitting pretty because he just doesn't have what it takes to bring down your tank. So if we talk about the other version, slightly less guns, but you hold 16 models. That's where a lot more tactics can come into it. Back in the day, people would load it up with Wolfen. I mean, you can find 8th edition battle reports where people would load it up with Wolfen not that long ago and just regurgitate Wolfen all over the table where you need them. Now that Wolfen have been nerfed pretty hard, I think the other obvious choice is Terminators. Fill this thing up with Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators. I think you can fit 8 of them and just spit 8 of them into the heart of the enemy. It's pretty cool. You're still going to have all your guns, all that. If you go first, you launch across the table at exactly what you want those Terminators to attack, or those Wolfen. You get right in their face, like an inch away. Shoot your guns at other things. Shoot your guns at the things that are going to most likely kill you on their turn, just to so that maybe you'll survive. Even if you don't, that's the whole point, though. So they then shoot or attack you with a flying monster, but they shoot and kill you. You spend 1 CP so that no Terminators die in the destruction. They get out safe and sound. They're right where they want to be, ready for your turn to charge them, to move and then charge. So it works really well. It's kind of just like Rhino Rush. You get in their face. Even if you die, you're where you want to be for what's inside. So I think it works pretty well for that. It is so expensive just to move 8 Terminators up the field. For 350 points, even if you go bare bones, just 300 points, I just personally don't feel like it's worth it for the transport version. Whatever it is you're transporting, you could outflank. And then they're still showing up on the enemy side of the table, safe and sound, turn 2. I just don't see why 300 points is ever going to be worth it to move a strong unit right into the enemy's face. There's just other methods you could do. There's other ways you could get them there, whether that's stratagems for deep striking, stratagems for outflanking. I mean, if they're Terminators, they can deep strike for free. It doesn't even cost a CP. So I'm just not the hugest fan of the transport version. I'll go as far as to say I think it's a waste of points. It's far too expensive for what you're using it for. I could see where you could argue that the gunship is also far too expensive. I mean, it's almost the cost of an Imperial Knight, but the destruction it can do and the amount of attention it can draw, it's pretty great. Personally, in a tournament style army list, I would not bring either. But for battle reports, like we do on Beer and Bat Reps, I will for sure get one and add it because I think it looks like a lot of fun, and the amount of guns it carries could surprise some people for a game, and then they will learn the hard way how powerful this flying gunship is. I want to find some better wings, maybe a better front to it, if not, at least just better, bigger wings so that it looks realistic. And I want to bring the gunship version, and I want to just wipe out some Space Marines. I think it sounds like a lot of fun, even against like Tyranids. The fact that you're -1 to hit is really going to hurt a lot of their big artillery gun bugs. They're going to have a lot of trouble hitting you, and you'll be just popping a Tyrannifex every turn with this thing, no problem. You might even be able to split one of the 3 gun systems onto another Tyrannifex or Hive Tyrant, whatever you're aiming at. With guns this powerful and this high AP, I would definitely target things that don't have invulnerable saves. I mean, that's obvious. That's just normal Warhammer 101. You could throw it all at something with like a 4-up invul, like a Hive Tyrant, and hope enough slip through that you just slaughter it, which is very possible. But if you have other tasty targets that don't have an invul, by all means, go after that. Hunt down Dreadnoughts, Redemptor Dreadnoughts. You'll be popping those things. Hunt down, Night Titans. If you can get a Night Titan to rotate its ion shields from other things in your army, then go after a different knight that hasn't rotated, and then it'll only have a 5-up invul. Lots of things to think about with this. I personally am a big fan, other than the point cost and how the model looks. I know those are both huge factors. It's way too many points, and it's a bit ugly. But other than that, I love the gun loadout. I love the concept of it. I love the fluff that they just have their own special, unique airship. It's really cool. And when you really think about the legions of Space Marines, you have the Blood Angels, and their only unique vehicle is the Ball Predator, which, take it or leave it, I'm not the biggest fan of the Ball Predator, but it's their unique vehicle. And then you have these for the Space Wolves, which are really cool. They have lots of other unique vehicles as well, such as all their dreadnoughts and all that. But I meant more of like their gunship. Dark Angels have the Dark Talon. Used to be able to argue that Black Templars had the Land Raider Crusader, but then everyone got that. It'd be cool if Salamanders were the only ones that could take the Land Raider Redeemer. That'd be pretty cool with their big flame cannons. But in terms of uniqueness, this is just the Space Wolves. No one else can bring a flyer with this many ridiculous guns on it. And just have fun if you do use it. Please comment down below. I love reading and commenting on all your comments. I love chatting with you guys. You can find us on Facebook. Just search Beer and Bat Reps. And then we can have all kinds of chats and show off the models we've been painting and show off lists and discuss that. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. If you have other friends or family that play Warhammer and are thinking about Space Wolves, send them this link. Let them know that there's a guy out there who just reads the lore and tells you how he'd use it and goes through the stratagems. This is Nick from Beer and Bat Reps. Until next time, Sons of Russ. Later.